With a budget right around $300 million, which, by the way, is disputable, an 80-year-old star that is, yeah, pretty well close to the end, and the fact that you have what is being said to be an extremely annoying female lead, I don't see how this movie will do anything but flop.
There's an interesting screenshot that one of my mods has shared with me, and it's George Lucas at the premiere of Indy 5 with Harrison Ford. Let me just show you.
Oh wow.
Uh, that man does not look happy with what's happened.
How could he be?
That's just like, look how they massacred my boy. Good lord.
Yeah.
That, my friends, was from the Critical Drinker. Now, that facial expression from George Lucas tells you everything you need to know. And I can hear some people saying that maybe it was done before the film started. Yeah, I highly doubt it. Well, guys, it is finally time. Indiana Jones 5 is hitting the theaters tonight at midnight. Now, guys, I am recording this video on Thursday. It was supposed to come out on Thursday as well as video number 2, but due to YouTube's algorithm, I guess there was a copyright issue or something. I chose, due to the timing, to just pull those videos down and then re-upload them for Friday to kind of send off the week. Not to mention the fact there's also this footage that came out of Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. Apparently this fight between these two is actually real, but we'll be talking about that tomorrow to go along with this video here. Now, I will be going to go see this film either on Saturday night or Sunday. I'm not entirely sure what day. I may even go tomorrow night depending on the conditions, and the minute that I watch the film, I'll more than likely put together a video and give you guys my personal review. Now, really quick, I'm a big-time fan of Indiana Jones, the franchise, especially the first 3 films. They're really almost on equal footing. All 3 of them are great. The fourth one, Kingdom of Crystal Skull, not as much, but still at the same time, it wasn't the worst film in the world. Of course, somebody's probably going to beat me up in the comments section over that. And, of course, anything Lucas-related I've always been a fan of. Of course, that there being not the sequel trilogy of Star Wars. But I've obviously done a couple of videos on this, and now it's time to go ahead and kind of finish this entire thing off. So Disney has wrapped this film up with roughly a $300 million budget. Now, there are some saying that it's not as high as it is. However, when you factor in the Rotten Tomato score that has came out, when you factor in all the other intangibles, the critics' reviews so far, and like I said, this right here is not designed to spoil the film or anything, it sounds to me like this film right here is going to be another wasted effort out of Disney. Now, guys, I have told you guys before why it is that Disney continues to put out films, and they kind of sit back and wonder, why in the world is it that this film sucks? Why in the world is this film not getting the money that we need it to get? Kind of like in the case of The Little Mermaid, Buzz Lightyear lost a lot of money. And, of course, Elemental has not done well either. The reason why is pretty damn obvious. The wokeness, the politics, all that type of stuff here. But here's the deal with the case of Indiana Jones. It was probably best that you just let this thing die with the Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I understand that Steven Spielberg and George Lucas wanted to get together and, how do I say this? They wanted to put together another venture in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but obviously that's got a bit of a mixed reaction. However, I'm pretty sure after watching this one, if it is as bad as they say it is, you probably will not think Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is that bad. But then again, though, yeah, the facial expression that you guys saw on George Lucas's face kind of makes me think he's probably sitting here saying to himself, man, look at how they messed with my boy. Now, guys, I want to go ahead and reiterate one more time why this is the case, why it is expected to fail, especially given Lucasfilm and given how Kathleen Kennedy and them have kind of basically ruined this entire product. But I'm also going to explain to you guys what I would actually do in the case of this film as far as if I was actually trying to recreate this picture. So apparently what's going on is that Indiana Jones, it's his son, which by the way was played by Shia LaBeouf in the fourth one. Apparently he's died in Vietnam, stuff like that there. Just a lot of things that just don't, that right off the bat kind of make the film look a little bit bleak. Like I said, I'm not going to spoil the film for you, but there are some things that have came out, of course, about the actual story, the leaks and whatnot, that are probably going to be mentioned. There's a lot of talk about the girl Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who, by the way, she's another one of those feminists that really isn't funny, taking up a good portion of the screen time. There is no Marcus Brody, from what I understand. No connections back to Marcus Brody. Apparently, they're going to do all their connections to a character that we did not see in the original trilogy, which, by the way, kind of bothers me. No connections back to Dr. Jones Sr., who was played by Sean Connery in The Last Crusade. Apparently, there's no connections to anybody that we actually know, for the exception of Sala, which is kind of worrisome to me why they just didn't bring Sala back for the fourth one. You see, if it had been me, I would have more than likely done something similar to what Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade was, seeing how it is that when you make films, typically franchises typically tend to follow some kind of code. For example, you get the original, the second film comes out, it's typically funnier, maybe a little bit more violent depending on the genre. Maybe it's a little bit more in-depth depending on the genre, of course. And the third film, of course, which finishes off the trilogy, typically tends to go back to the past. Fourth one, I'm not so sure about the rules, and the fifth one, the same thing, but why not extend it back to Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade? I think that right there probably would have been the better way to actually send this thing off. Maybe you probably didn't need someone like, say, like Shia LaBeouf to come back, but maybe bring back Indy's son for like a father-son adventure. I think that would have been a little bit better given the tone of this film and given Harrison Ford's age. And, of course, the main gripe that people have outside of Phoebe Waller-Bridge is that this film is, quite frankly, pretty well depressed. Let me just go ahead and say this really quick. I think, if I haven't already said it before, I think they should just let this franchise die. It's an iconic franchise. It's made a lot of money over the years. And this is something else, too. We spend a lot of money on movies for CGI and all that type of stuff there, only to see films flop. Raiders of the Lost Ark was made on $20 million, which equates to right around $70 million US today. Don't you guys find it funny that the most unforgettable or the most memorable of these particular films only costed $20 million to make, where probably the most forgettable for being the worst was right around $300 million to make? I just figured I'd throw that out there. Also, something else too, we're becoming way too reliant on CGI. We need to go back to practical effects and stuff like that, right? I mean, look, Kingdom of Crystal Skull was bad enough. I have no idea why Disney is doing this cash grab. I mean, if anything, they should probably let other directors who can make good films on less money, I think they should probably give them a crack at making films like this, right? And I'm pretty sure you probably could find a way to do this with it being practical effects, even though that you have an 80-year-old actor, and of course you had to go through the whole de-aging thing. Yeah, I just don't see how this is going to end well. Depressing films just don't sell, which, by the way, leads me to where I wanted to kind of end this video at. I said this during the review, or said this, well, not during the review, but during the Elemental video, which, by the way, I'll link in the description box. I think I've said in a couple of other videos, too, that, if you keep producing stuff that's political, social justice warrior, somewhat preachy, non-binary, catering to what is only a couple of percent of the population, if you keep doing that, after a while, people will eventually say, look, I don't want to touch anything that has Disney on it. Anything that Disney produces is probably going to be trash. I don't want to touch it. I want absolutely nothing to do with it. People aren't going to go. And I mentioned this also in the Elemental video, that you have to understand that the vast majority of people who watch movies or film goers are, in fact, families. What I mean by that is that mama and daddy, or aunt and uncle, whatever, boyfriend and girlfriend, typically tend to carry the kids to the film to go to the movie theater to go see the film. That right there is probably right around 40% of your viewing audience. What about friends that get together and say, look, I want to go watch a movie. What do you want to watch? Well, I don't want to watch this right here because it comes from Disney. They just keep throwing woke garbage in our face. Even if you got a liberal friend in the crowd, they're probably going to say, yeah, you know what, man, you're kind of right, dude. I don't want to watch this nonsense. This nonsense is just a bunch of crap. They produce nothing but crap reach. They just don't want to go watch it. Basically, what's happening is that films like this right here are dying due to the fact that Disney's already developing a bit of a reputation, and of course, people just don't want to touch it. And if people don't want to touch this product, this is something that I've been saying about Disney for a while, that they obviously do not listen. The difference between, say, Disney and like Bud Light or like Target right now is that Disney is a much, much larger company. Now, I've said before, the best way you can beat these people is by just simply unsubscribing from Disney+. Just unsubscribe. After a while, they'll come to the table. They'll ask you where the hell they went wrong. I still believe that is probably the best way to go about it when it comes to Disney. But if you screw up a character like, say, Indiana Jones, an iconic character like this, and basically do what it is that we believe you're about to do to them, you will lose roughly 40% of the people who actually watch your product, especially seeing how it is that Disney practically owns Lucasfilm And now, of course, we're finding out that Disney just may be trying to scrap that and trying to get rid of Lucasfilm as a whole. George Lucas should never have sold his product. He should have never sold it to Disney. And I didn't mention this earlier, but Steven Spielberg, and he's like the producer of this film. He was the director of the original 3. He was actually the director of the 4th one. George Lucas, of course, was very, very much heavily involved in those films. They went with James Mangold instead. And I'm not sitting here saying that Mangold's a bad director or anything, but it's not Steven Spielberg. If it's not Steven Spielberg or George Lucas actually being working together in tandem, yeah, chances are you're probably not going to get a good film. And it's sad too, because it's such an iconic character. As a matter of fact, Indiana Jones was ranked number 2 on AFI's all-time movie heroes. And you found a way to destroy it. And, of course, this was because Disney needed some form of a cash grab to make some money. And, of course, they're about to find out right now that they're not going to make any cash off this film. Guys, John Claymore here. If you guys like this content, please hit the like button. I am sorry about not getting this video out on Thursday. This video was supposed to have clips, the actual trailer, all that stuff, more information. But, of course, copyright, stuff like that kind of got the better of me. And I just now got to actually recording this video at roughly 6 o'clock this evening. This video will be out tomorrow, right around 3 o'clock. I'm gonna try to go through a bit of a content run. I know it's 4th of July weekend, even though 4th of July is going to be on Tuesday. So I'm going to try to put as much content as I can out this weekend, barring what happens on Saturday, of course, with the movie and everything. And of course, as you guys can see, the brand new computer and everything, we're going to start doing some video essays here in the near future. But I'll keep you guys posted on that. Every time I try to do one, things just constantly get screwed up, mostly due to the technology, and it's not exactly the. I'm a bit of a guy who's got to have a good product. I actually got to feel good about the product before I put it out there, especially in essay form. And I treat it that same way about my actual videos as a whole. So if you guys like this content, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. If you think I've earned your subscription, please sub. Also hit the notifications bell so that way you guys are notified when videos come out. Also leave a comment in the comment section. I'll see you guys later.
I suddenly remembered my Charlemagne. Let my armies be the rocks and the trees and the birds in the sky.